figure out that one. Here we go, though. Top Esports on blue this time. Banning that Aphelios. Banning Milio this time, so we won't see Mark on the Milio. Banning the Yumi. Whereas Nico, Lucian, banned away by TT. What on earth is the third priority ban here? I feel like there is so much that's bannable in the meta right now.
So you could remove Maokai if you're worried about the defensive play coming in from top esports, which actually allowed them to stall very heavily in game one. There's Vi, there's Ari, there's Annie, there's stuff like Jinx as well on the table. I doubt that's really a ban priority, but there's a lot of, again, very powerful picks coming through. So Tien can insta-lock that Vi. You expect now you have to kind of take away the Ari on the other side just to stop the Vi-Ari combo coming in.
Yeah, the alternative, though, is you go for the Wukong Annie combo, right? You kind of have a similarly strong mid-jungle combo of your own, but deciding they do want to deny, and I kind of agree with that decision, to be honest. The Wukong still going to be a priority pick, still fantastic in its own right, can be very good alongside the Ahri as well, so that'll be locked in. The full Vastaya round there for TT.
Absolutely. So, going to have Bechuan have a bit more engage and real kind of damaging potential. Something like the Vi, you can kind of pick up this first target, but someone like Wukong, we saw what the likes of Konami can do with that champion and win teamfights pretty much all by their lonesome. On the other side, though, it's going to be the Annie, which, of course, Yukal piloted in Game 1, was banned away in Game 2, and this pick can pin the Ahri in lane. Very important to do so, because if Ahri does manage to get out of lane, we've seen what many players can do on that champion, least of all Rookie in that last game. Wayward, though, going to make it 3 for 3 on the K'Sante.
Certainly will. And, I mean, rightly so. Rightly so. The Annie, the K'Sante, both locked in. And instantly Hoya's like, oh, you play K'Sante again? Well, I'm playing Gwen again. I'm happy to take that matchup. So, kind of rinse repeating in terms of just meta picks here. Obviously changing who's got what. But, I mean, Yukal had a big advantage in that mid lane in game number 1 when he was on the Annie versus that Ahri. So we'll see if Rookie can kind of return the favor in the mid lane from what happened in the first game of the series. Draven banned away, though. Do they ban the Cogmod? No, I'm kidding, obviously.
Okay, all right, moving on from that one, because honestly, if we see it, it'd be very funny. I don't know if you can... It's so hard to draft Cogmod, man. It's so hard to draft him. If there's any point and click, long-range engage, it just feels so awful about it, especially when you don't have something like the Milio. Feel even worse to do so. Another thing which I do want to touch on, though, is also this top lane matchup, because it talks about how poorly the Annie Ahri matchup went for Rookie in game 1 when he was playing the Ahri. Hoya absolutely dumpstered Wayward before a little bit of macro play came in, and Hoya committed to a bot side fight and allowed Wayward back into the game by getting a load of plates and a load of waves into tower. Going into game 3, if Hoya can actually maintain that lead in this third game and stop Wayward getting to the teamfight disruptive menace that he was in that game 2, we might see again that question asked of how much carrying can Hoya do when it's asked of him.
I want to see a Jinx ban here. Okay, Zeri ban. Jinx is available. Like, what other meta AD carries even are there? We've got Aphelios, Zeri, Lucian, Draven, Xayah all banned away. Like, we are getting towards the edges of the meta here. Jinx, the only really remaining, I think.
We saw a game of that yesterday. Please no Samira. Samira is not the pick against point-and-click Vi and also the zero projectile Annie. That can get a bit awkward. You're kind of going to have to bite the bullet a little bit on this one. Playing Jinx into Vi, I mean, we saw it in Arcane. We've seen it in pretty much every piece of lore regarding these two for forever.
We saw this yesterday.
Yeah.
Varus Heimerdinger was played yesterday. I mean, it certainly gets some priority. It certainly gets you a lead early on. The lethality items all got pretty much buffed across the board. So, massive priority in the bottom side for top esports here.
Hugely so, and if you want to answer the Heimerdinger, you have to try and pick something that either can engage onto them very heavily after the laning phase and just survive, or something that can contest push and kill the turrets. We saw a bit of Karma before for that end, where you can just queue the turrets, order them down. And of course, earlier this year, we saw even 80 carries being played as a support, which is very good against the Heimerdinger. That meta's been far gone now at this point. We don't see as much of that Ashe or Varus support. It's going to be that Leona for Yao Yao.
All right, Yao Yao. The hard engage tool in that Leona to follow up on the Wukong. Certainly feels like a solid composition from the side of TT, but I'm looking at top esports this game. The Varus Heimerdinger. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's the second time. There could be a couple more so far this LPL that we get to see the Varus Heimerdinger combo, but the lethality Varus, honestly, I think a lot stronger than people are giving it credit right now. And it's a relatively squishy team on the side of TT as well for him to poke away at.
It was LNG versus Weibo where we saw that one being picked out, and I believe it was Light which picked up the Varus itself. Ended up walking away, of course, with a win with that. LNG, despite adding Guile to their roster, not having the easiest starts to this split. Have to see what they can do continuing on into that one. But in this game, it is all about Game 3, Top Esports, TT. TT won in Spring versus Top Esports, even though they were so very, very close in the standings. 7th and 8th place. This could be a very important matchup if they were to be as close again at the end of summer.
Let's see what JackeyLove can do on the pick. I feel like JackeyLove versus 1xN is absolutely the matchup to watch right now. They've both been playing so well across this series. 1xN put behind in game number 2, and JackeyLove had his moment to shine. Whereas game number 1, 1xN on that Aphelios, just destroying people. Now, on the Jinx once again. Didn't work out for him in game number 2. We'll see if he can redeem himself, or whether the answer to beating TT is just ban Aphelios. Game number 3 will be the deciding factor. And look at this, 1xN starting boots.
Starting boots for the 4-pot start, and also the ability to maybe walk out of one of these skill shots, because look at the runes on JackeyLove. It is Poke Varus, the Comet put in. You take this rune when you're outranged as Poke Varus. Sometimes you'll take the Halo Blade so you can get the very quick stacks into an empowered Q, or just popping your W stacks with that E. But now Yao Yao and 1xN, they're going to get poked out a lot, folks. And I'm looking at TT. They don't have the easiest way to get past the likes of a Vi or a Cassante onto the carries, which they'd really like to stop poking them.
Yeah, you can see 1xN, like you say, the 4-pot start just for sustain. Also going with fleet footwork, which as Jinx, you really do want to go lethal tempo, but deciding
you don't exactly have a choice. It's either fleet footwork or like be 100 HP permanently.
Whoa, H1, not messing about.
Well, so look at the Pixel Bush. Pixel Bush, you can see that there is a ward pinged there.
Yep.
So TT knew there was the one ward dropped in River, and they've gotten away with this. They're going to have an unseen start on enemy Raptors into enemy red buff. There's a chance now that you could get H1 trying to gank this bot lane early.
Yao Yao trying to get some damage down, but it's cost him half of his HP. As, I mean, there's just no way to fight for priority in this lane. It's just not possible.
This is very important to pay attention to now, because Tien is going to go from top side to bot side. As soon as he sees Raptors are gone, they're going to know something's up. Beitron is hitting red buff right now. This wave is being pushed into turret by JackeyLove and Mark. You need to get a gank off very quickly if you're going to at all by Beitron before Tien realizes what's up.
Okay, red buff finished. Is he going to go for the Crux? He is. Looking to take that extra camp here. So now JackeyLove and Mark will know something's off. The Raptors are not there. Tien knows the red buff isn't there. They've got to know. They found Beitron. They've spotted him on a ward at this point, and Beitron, he might have bitten off more than he can chew here. Is he going to execute?
He's looking for an execute.
He's actually just going to execute. He flashes to take the quadrant and then goes for the fast recall. I mean, it's literally only 2 seconds slower than recalling at this point in the game. It was a 10-second death timer. Tien just charges in, immediately looking to answer with a quadrant of his own.
But like, 1xN and Yao Yao, they can't respond to this bot side jungle clear. Even if Beitron, okay, what they can do is stop Wolves going down and Gromp going down. So there's going to be a buff taken by Tien, so it's not going to be a full quadrant advantage to Beitron, but at least there are some camps which have been preserved by TT. From the looks of the pings being put down by Top Esports, there's actually a chance that Tien goes over to enemy red buff or Raptors and tries to contest them as well, particularly because Rookie has the push in mid lane.
I was about to say, look at mid lane. Rookie, a level up, has priority. Tien should be able to just waltz on in here. Beitron has to go down towards his Gromp, and he's going to lose at least red buff here, maybe more.
I just feel like it was such a mistake for Beitron to go towards Krugs and not go for the early gank, break the push of the Varus Heimerdinger, not allow Tien to inform his bot lane of what's up. You can maybe get yourself an early gank, blow some flashes, allow Yao Yao and 1xN to find their own advantages beyond that point. Because after that point, it feels like the wheels have come off the train. And much like Game 2, the early plan from TT has failed.
I feel like it was almost half-baked, you know. They'd done most of the work on building that plan, but they've not thought, like, what happens when they see us, you know? And, you know, quick thinking from Beitron, at least he got executed rather than giving a kill across, but did not find the advantage that he was hoping for. Wow. The win rates for Vi versus Wukong.
Yeah.
Pretty one-sided. Holy crap. I never would have guessed that it was quite that one-sided in the LPL right now.
Guess we found out why the Vi is more banned than the Wukong, huh?
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Jesus. So, TN having the matchup advantage, that's for sure. As Baytron discovers that there are no camps remaining, the crab taken, and TN can just do a full clear from this point. He can path all the way down. Every camp is back up.
Oh, the timing's worked out so well for Tien as well. And it means that when 1xN and Yao Yao are back in lane, Tien can be hovering around that bot side of the map. You see them arriving on the wave at this point. They're not overly pushing it. They can just allow this to stack up. By the time that they have stacked up a wave, Tien's going to be on that side of the map. Dragon's going to be alive. They can look for a push into the enemy jungle. They can look towards that Dragon. Top Esports coordinating their members well with waves and jungle camps.
Certainly are. Look at the CS lead in the bottom lane already. And this is only going to get worse. This is such an oppressive lane to have to play against. The tier is there for Jackulov as well.
Just go for the gank towards that bot side. Baytron trying to battle ward a little bit towards Tien at this point, but even with that, Rookie is getting towards a point of power as the Annie, though still has to teleport back into lane. Baytron not able to stop Tien taking these camps. Rookie is now going to be able to hit 6 very soon, have full HP off of this teleport, and Top Esports, they have complete control of the next play that happens on the map.
Yeah, he's got boots as well, so that's big damage coming out from the Annie. Hoya and Wayward in a bit of a scrap up top as Wayward goes for the all-out. He wants the 1v1, but Needlework in play here. Hoya goes wide on 2 of them, though, and Wayward misses his cue. Everything's going wide in this one. It's a comedy of errors, but Hoya coming out on top.
Couple of near misses there from Hoya. Cancels an auto 2, misses a Needlework, but it is just enough to thread the needle in that solo kill. Wayward lost the matchup here in Game 2. Manages to redeem himself a little bit with those team fights. Hoya, though, important solo kill and plates on top of that. That's a big win, especially considering Wayward has no TP. Can't even collect this cannon wave at tower.
Yeah, he's like 20 CS down off the back of this play. It's absolutely massive. And he was the one starting this off.
I think he's just trying to get something with a level 6 mark up. But Hoya hits it first. Wayward, even with the stack Qs, not able to outvalue. I get when you're Cassante, you can kind of look at half your HP bar and say, it's enough. That's basically full HP bar when you're all outing. It gets close because flashes over the foot that Needlework, dodges another one. You think, hey, with those 2 stacks down, maybe you can win this. And considering that Q3 was missed, this was a close run thing.
So close to finishing Hoya off there. Great movement from Wayward to dodge the Needleworks, but the fact that he misses his Q then kind of ends the play. And it does mean that Wayward goes down. Hoya with an advantage, and that's kind of mitigating some of the damage that's being done on the bottom side. Like Jackulov and Mark getting so far ahead. Yao Yao has decided to leave that lane. Rookie flashes straight away, but it's a 3-man play. It's a great charm follow-up. Yao Yao getting the kill with the Eclipse. It's not ideal, but it's still a kill.
It's a bit annoying, but it does mean that a cannon's denied. Extra gold goes over to TT and their supporting members. But now you don't have flash on Yao Yao. You don't have your ult on Yukal, so there's a chance that the next objective fight, or the Dragon or the Herald, either of them, goes over Top Esports as a cost of this play.
Tien, look at this. Good guy, Tien, holding the wave, but it will eventually crash. He can't just stay in the mid lane forever. As Rookie will lose a fair bit of CS there, and that's Flash and TP currently on cooldown. Things could be tough for Rookie if TT look to rinse and repeat that play, but in the meantime, Tien has found his way into the Dragon Pit. We'll start this one off the back of the priority that Jackulov and Mark have in the bottom side. All out once more. Wayward attempt number 2. Ring the bell, please. As Hoya needleworks him and will survive with his life. It's a tense 1v1 in the top lane.
Hoya is so lucky that his Conqueror was so stacked at that point. Wayward, his ult's just about to run out at this point. But yeah, really good removal of the Hallowed Mist. That ult through the wall meant that, of course, Gwen leaves the area. It had already left it the one time. It can't scoot forward yet another time, so almost winning that out. And Wayward, good attempts in the 1v1, but it doesn't stop the fact that he's still bleeding out gold. Luckily for him, bot lane is in his favor, doing pretty much the same thing, bleeding out in favor of Top Esports.
Yeah, I mean, there's just nothing you can do against this lane. It's so frustrating to play against. I have to say, this is, as a player, this is probably the most annoying lane in the whole of bot lane. And that includes, like, Jarvan and Zhao bot lanes and these other ridiculous kill lanes. Like,
if you're outranged, by a Vel'Koz support in the right meta, or a Brand that can be similarly
What is
really
the difference? I mean,
They're pretty much the same thing in
fulfills
fairness.
the same role. Like, I feel like that's like, you know, potato at that point. It's just this horrendous poke lane. The difference is Heimerdinger guarantees even more priority than they do.
Very true. Those turrets do help you very much push forwards. And either way, the major support, if you encounter in solo queue, they're probably stealing your CS either way. So hard luck there when you play with them. But absolutely do understand that point. Hoy getting another demolished proc. All of this work in the top side is completely individual. Hoya getting so much work done. 3 solo plates and a ton of CS to advantage.
And I love the trust that the team is putting in Hoya, right? Like, so many teams are just playing Sion versus Gragas versus Cassante, like these 3 picks with a little bit of Ornn smattered in there. Whereas Hoya played the Gragas, but he played AP Gragas, right? And now, bringing out the Gwen twice, like, clearly, TT are happy to play triple carry. They're happy to have Yao Yao be the tanky part of the team. Beichuan, you know, build a bit tanky on the Wukong as well, and have them as sort of a pseudo frontline, rather than have the big mega tank from the top side. It's a different look at League of Legends, and I like that we're seeing different looks here in the LPL, because it's been feeling a bit stale, to be honest. I like that Hoya's willing to play carries and succeeding.
So that actually leads into a pretty interesting conversation this time, right? Good snipe on the cannon, gets that with the Super Mega Death Rocket. There is a concept as we're going to see a Herald dropped in this boss side. I don't think it's going to lead to a dive. I think it should just be, this could probably be the turret going down, but when you move between metas, you have this thing called, it's just a mathematical term in terms of a local maxima. If you imagine like a mountain range, it's got like multiple mountains with different peaks. Some of the peaks are a little higher than the others, and when the meta changes, just imagine those mountains kind of like almost shifting up and down. Because you're at the peak of one mountain, which was the highest beforehand, it's still kind of hard to go down that mountain and up a higher one to get to a higher point when the meta changes. So a lot of these teams, they're not that quick to completely jump ship into another different style, especially if they don't know exactly if it's going to be better than the current high peak that they're on right now. But when you see these champions come out, you can see a bit of this innovation come through. In the long run, it can see you with a lot of advantages, particularly as you were saying, in the LPL. We're not seeing that many top lane carries right now. TT, they might be finding another inroad into the meta, which they're more comfortable with.
I'm here for it. I'm absolutely here for it. TT getting all mathematical on us. Although I'm not sure how mathematical they're seeing it as, but I like the mountain range analogy.
They can see the Matrix.
I'm here for it. I feel Swiss
numbers.
listening to this story with all the mountains involved. But yeah, top esports kind of sticking to mostly what's standard in this series until they brought out this Varus and Heimerdinger, which I think might become standard if we keep seeing these 80 carry bands. Big all in at the bottom side mark. The target taken down, and now the follow-up from top esports. They want to turn this around. Tibbers is doing some work here. Oh, great charm from UCal, but he can't follow it up. And it will be a 1-for-1 in the end.
Rookie gets there in time. Honestly, the second tier of boots, helps him get to that play in time. Doesn't even have to blow the flash for that one. Very lucky that Baytron didn't have enough damage to continue that fight. Now, 1xN called out. Jackie has a lot of damage.
Yeah, if that hits, it's an all-in angle, honestly. The damage that you can get out of Lethality Varus, he's finished his Ghost Blade. It's Wayward trying to find Hoya here. Is he going to go for an all-out at this point? Yes, pulls him, but won't find the knock-up just yet. Needs to find that Q. Oh, the flash is a whip!
No!
Wayward! It's gone so sideways. It's a disaster in the top lane.
Hoya with nerves of steel, though, doesn't even blow the flash, just sidesteps, hits his own skill shots, knows his damage, and Wayward is being comprehensively outlaned and out 1v1'd.
That was tough to watch, especially from Wayward, who we just saw an interview saying, you know, I'm trying to make it to the All-Pro team. He obviously wants it. The whip, too much.
Solar Flare, not able to get the maximum value out, doesn't cut the fight short as they would have liked to, and what that means is that a load of turrets get to go down with the Heimerdinger roll, which add on to the Tibbers. What we go into here, though, is briefly a 2-level advantage in that top side, reduced to a 1 when Wayward manages to kill one of those minions, but he chooses this fight, much like previous ones, and he just gets absolutely blasted. Hoya just outsteps him time after time. One of the questions we had in Game 2 was what happens with this matchup? Wayward managed to outvalue in team fights later on, but he struggled in that laning phase. Hoya, he's come down to the fight at this point, but he's not had to make a trade for getting a kill in a team fight as opposed to trade it off to Wayward getting a couple of plates in the tower. Wayward, he doesn't have a way into this game right now.
And you have to wonder what happened between games that his mentality of this matchup has changed so much. Like, what did a coach say or someone say to say, like, look, you've got to try and fight the Gwen in the early game? Because he's really going for it in this one. He's got a winning bot lane, and Mark's caught out again. That's just going to be a kill over to you, Cal. I don't really know why he's face-checking that one alone, to be honest. There was no one even on the map near him.
That one feels a little awkward because, like, you think you're just facing the Ahri and you think, okay, Ahri can't completely one-shot me, I can get away. Then you realize that it's Charm, then Everfrost, then it's the Solar Flare because Yaoyao's in range at that point. It's just losing track of people across the map, and that's going to be a big problem because you start falling behind against the Wukong that can hop over the wall, the Leona, the Ahri. Those plays are going to get that much more dangerous, and the Heimerdinger is not the best at standing up to chain CC.
No, he is not. He's not even the best at standing up. He's tiny. So Mark...
He's only got little legs.
Bless his cotton socks. Although he's not got cotton socks on, he's got flip-flops on, as it's the pool party, Heimerdinger.
Better say, cotton socks have got to feel really weird, because Yordles have like, they have like furry feet. I don't know whether even they need socks, question mark?
Yeah, a bit of a friction-based situation down there. Hot feet, let me tell you that. In the meantime, Jackula pushing
between a
up.
hobbit and a hard place.
Look, Rookie's got 1 feet as well, because he got those early boots in.
True.
Jackula and Mark both just on the brown bags.
And Hoyer, of course, has
Same
dancing
TN,
shoes.
Actually. That's true. All right, so it's a footwear nightmare. Yeah, you wouldn't want any. Wouldn't want anyone from Paris looking at this. The fashion statements being thrown out today are ludicrous, absolutely ludicrous. Herald started off by top Esports.
Yes. So, because they're in the river first, you get to put down those turrets. Heimerdinger gets to still use their point of power in this early game. Rylai's first item as well means that getting into this river is just a pain in the ass, man. You've got the Hex Flash from Yaoyao, which can close the distance. You have that Solar Flare to make things a little awkward. But while this is happening, TT, they don't feel threatened to go into this river. They know that the Heimerdinger's there. Just get another Demolish proc in the side lane. Open up the map as much as you can. Allow Hoyer to keep doing Hoyer things.
I'm playing a separate minigame in this cast now.
Yeah.
I'm going to mentally just watch and see if Wayward can land a Q3 in this game. So far, the answer has been no, unilaterally. As Hoyer is just too good at dodging him. I will say, the end of game number 1, Wayward had an amazing dash Q3 to try and set up the final play. And it was Hoyer that denied it then as well on the Gragas. His big cask in the team fight to knock everyone on top Esports OA and stop that engage. And I will say, like, just zooming out a little bit as well, outside of just memeing on Wayward, like, how impressive is it to see TT playing like this? How impressive is it to see top Esports being taken to 3 games, looking at game number 3, and yes, they do have 2 Drakes, but the gold is basically in touching distance to the 2 teams. Like, there are win conditions available. 1xN on the Jinx, not as far behind this game as he was in the previous game. Like, obviously Jackula is ahead, but 1xN not being starved out quite in the same way as he was in game number 2. This is such an impressive performance from TT to be able to bring top Esports to 3 games. Hoyer, 1v2 on the bottom side, and you can't beat Wayward when he's got Tien there as well.
Tien comes in, saves the day. Black Cleaver, good damage buff on that item really just means that Hoyer has no way to survive that situation. Overstayed a little too much, cancelled the recall or 2, maybe thought he could get enough items to, enough gold to finish his second item. But still, top Esports only just really going to get that 1 kill. That is going to open up a Herald placement in this mid lane, but you don't have the Vial. That is potentially a missing tool which they'd wish they could have for the next fight of the game.
Yeah, we'll just be the Herald slamming home. Drake coming up in 35 seconds, so I feel like they would have loved to wait for the next wave to drop that Herald. I think it was about to time out though. So they just have to slam that down, take the tower. They do have control of the area. With Drake not up for another 20 seconds, does give TT time to try and move in a little bit, but I don't know actually. Maybe you can't move into this. Luckily, Chemtech Rift does mean there's a million of those Scryer's blooms knocking about. So do spot everyone out. Top Esports don't get the cheeky little brush play they were looking for.
Not quite. Now, Yao has flash, has ult. However, Mark's flash is back up, and JackeyLove has a cleanse alongside his own. So TT, you're really looking to see who they can land in the initial engage. Tian has no flash right now, but his ultimate's coming back up. The amount of available targets for TT aren't that high, but they have managed to get themselves into River, importantly. That can be a very dangerous thing against this squad.
I will say for top esports, they're okay if Drake just never gets slow, and this is a really long poke battle instead of an actual fight here. Because JackeyLove gets so much value in that kind of situation. You're moving around. Yucal will be spotted by the sweeper here. Do they
spot the
over
Ari?
The wall? Yucal's in trouble. Gets over to the rest of his team. JackeyLove's in trouble in the meantime as the Cyclone comes on through. JackeyLove's solar flare is there and he will go down in the end, but Yao escapes with his life. In the meantime, top esports 4 strong, but the needlework does some damage. Hoya over the wall as Tibbers is 1v1ing Yao in the meantime. But top esports pull the fight out. Yucal and Beitron taken out.
Weird fight there from TT. They get themselves into River, but they can't get themselves away from the flank angle. They move a little too quickly into River. They don't manage to get vision control. Rookie manages to stop Yucal ever having tools to go forward. So top esports, they're going to claim themselves Soul Point on the Chemtech Rift. And yes, it's not the most powerful soul, but it's something extra put into pocket. Tian and Rookie, they were really the playmakers in Game 2 that flipped the game in their advantage. They are so close to getting Yucal down, but even though they don't kill him, they do get him pretty much out of the fight. Yucal is not doing damage at this point. Wayward finishes off that kill. While all this is happening, Wayward does double time on this Cassante, and once again zoning out 1xN, like he very much did in that first game. Despite the fact that he's been losing the 1v1s to Hoya, once again, we've seen the Cassante come alive in that team fight.
We certainly have. And JackeyLove, even though he died in that fight, take a look at his items right now. I guess you can't take a look at his items right now. He's about to finish stacking his Mura
It's actually
mana.
a Rorschach test. You have to tell us what the items are without looking.
Well, he's just picked up a straight deck. He had Ghostblade already. And you see the CDR boost there as well. He is, he's getting monstrous. When that finishes stacking and he finishes his second lethality item as well, like, this Varus will absolutely massacre people, especially when he procs that Blighted Quiver. Oh no, he's walking straight into Hoya. That was dangerous. That felt really scary. TT are all in that portion of the jungle.
So, TT gonna get themselves back onto the other side of the map for the first time in a little while. Hoya's actually grouped up a little. It's a little concerning that Hoya can't stay in a side lane with impunity. We saw the last time he overstayed. He actually got killed in that 2v1. Does have 2 items now. TT not gonna have that unparalleled point of power, which we maybe thought they could. And Rookie is going to cash out some people in between the gaps, going to find Hoya.
Has he been seen yet? There we go. Now he's been seen. Tibbers comes on down. Look at the damage out from Rookie. On top of Tien's Black Cleaver. Damage is one thing they are not shy on.
Hoya just not respecting the engage, not respecting that. He doesn't have the defensive stats to deal with the burst damage coming out. And TT, this point of power from the top lane, it's just not been something they can leverage.
Certainly hasn't. Really wants to clear that ward, but he's scared. He's nervous, and rightly so. Yao making sure that Vision sticks around here for TT. As top esports, with that pick, should be able to move into the river and start to fight for Vision control of their own. JackeyLove gets the priority in the mid lane and then can move in. The Muramana now fully stacked at this point. Head back to base. I don't know if he'll be able to actually finish an item off here, but lethality items are pretty cheap. See if he
it looks like he's going for the Edge of Night. Doesn't manage to complete it on that base, but once that Edge of Night comes in, good luck landing the engage. Yeah, he gets a control. Wait, doing his bit for the team. Thank you very much. I can appreciate that.
It was more just that I really built that recall up, and then all he spends is 75 gold on the control ward. It does happen. TT, they're just going to stop
They have a lot of damage here. They have a lot of damage. Cosmic Drive gives you a lot of extra cooldown reduction to get those extra Qs out. The Gwen is making this so quick.
5k on the Baron. Tien is in the area though.
Tien?
This is going to be a 50-50. He's CC'd up by Yao. Trying to get into the pit. He gets it! He actually gets it as Wayward takes that 1xN as well. It's disaster for TT. 1-for-1 in the fight. Now stuck in the back of the pit, but Wayward's over the wall. Just waiting for them to come. It's Beitron taken out. 2 kills and a Baron. Everything goes the way of top.
There are burgers everywhere. The flip's gone awry. They're all on the floor. The condiments are scattered. TT desperate around that objective, and they are punished for it. Tien, what a lot of flips in that first game, which went the distance. Went very late game. And in this game, and probably the most important flip of the series, Tien walks away with the smite. The damage is there from TT. You can see how much damage onto the Baron that Gwen does alongside the other carries of the Jinx and then the Ahri, but it's not quite quick enough. They can't quite keep Tien out of the pit. And now you have to think that was the last gasp from TT. If you lose that Baron, you're going to lose control of the map afterwards.
Yeah, you certainly are. And especially with Varus Heimerdinger. This is the perfect situation for them. Pushing with a Baron always feels fantastic. And you can see the top esports gang backstage. Very happy with what's happening here. Yao Yao trying to find something alongside Cal, but Rookie might just all in him here. Waiting for that Eclipse to go down. Everfrost, as well as TP from Hoya. Now behind enemy lines, but he's not going to be able to get in on this one. Cal actually turns golden to keep himself alive. Tib is used on just the one as a rocket. Golden again from Rookie this time around. Trying to move upwards in the fight as Hoya finds one onto Rookie and TT. Somehow finding an advantage here. This got real wacky real quick.
Rookie just too separated from the rest of the team. The reason TT couldn't press this advantage harder is because that thing in the top right of your screen, the AD carry, was not there for that fight. The rocket was the only contribution they can have. See it? Top Esports still in the enemy jungle though.
Cal's so close to finding that charm there, but Top Esports play it safe. Drake coming up in a second. And remember, Top Esports, this is their soul if they can take the dragon. 15 seconds on Rookie and he has TP available. Feels like TT are nervous to fight for this one.
It would be soul for Top Esports, and again, not really the game-ending soul in the way that a Hex deck is, or potentially some Mountains and Infernals. Not all souls are created equal. Teleport back in from Rookie. No Tibbers, but he has himself the stun. How much can TT do?
Gotta watch Page 1. He needs to make his way into the pit. Oh, he's chunked by Jackulov. The rocket goes out, it's soul taken, and Wayward has found Page 1. Knocked him back as he dashes forwards, looking for Yao Yao as well. Hoya zoned away by Tien. Q3 flashed away from Page 1, gets into the brush, but he's alone and chased down by Jackulov. A hail of arrows falls from the sky, and Page 1 is slain. Yao Yao next, but it's a great Everfrost from Cal to buy space for his support. Taken down anyway with the all-out. As now Hoya rejoins the team. Oh, the charm keeps Rookie away, denies the Tibbers. It was just about on cooldown, but Rookie was looking for the stun. Top Esports, they get soul, they get a couple of extra kills, and they get control.
And the carries of Thunder Talk Gaming just can't make it happen. Hoya caught out to the side this time. It was 1xN just before that. And 1xN has barely been able to impact either of the games since that first one. First game looked so good, but without the Aphelios, looks like he's without teeth. Hoya without a life bar.
And Hoya had such a good start to the game, had such a good team fight earlier on with the needleworks going on through, but consistently not respecting what Top Esports could do to lock him down and take him out. That'll be a mid lane inhib taken. And this feels reminiscent of what we saw yesterday with LGD taking JDG to 3 games. The underdog story felt like it could come true, but then denied in the end. It was JDG that came out on top. TT take game number 1 today. And it looked so good. Hoya making things happen in the top side here in game 3, but it is Top Esports ahead. 7,000 gold lead. Chemtech Soul. Everything going their way.
Top Esports, with a win like this, see themselves to 3-1. Of course, they fell off at the end of spring. They couldn't quite make it happen, even with their huge expectations coming into this year. It was one of those daunting super teams. We tend to forget most super teams do end up failing. It's only the precious few which end up reaching those heady heights. JDG, we expect them to be one of those such teams. For Top Esports, they're going to spare a couple of their blushes from spring. Went out fairly early into playoffs in that split. But if they manage to get themselves a bed of confidence, at least some bedrock to work off for summer so they can build again, there are great things we know that each of these players can do.
They certainly are. Top Esports already have achieved great things. International victory at MSC 2020.
I knew you were going to mention that. I knew it.
We talked about it off stream earlier today before the show started. Kind of robbed in 2020. I feel like they probably would have won MSI had it happened. They were in fantastic form at the time. I remember 2020, like, off the back of winning MSC, they're winning Summer. So many people, myself included, firmly believed they were the favorite going into Worlds 2020, but just a complete collapse at the tournament, it has to be said. As TN maybe has found H1, who's just going to zip away as a blast go, and he'll get out to safety.
Maybe don't go towards the Varus. A lot of the time, Wukong going into a Varus, I think, yes, good thing. The Varus is going to die. Not this one. Nobody's got a stopwatch, 3.5 items. Jackulov making a bit of an irregular pick in the meta right now. The Varus really work out. We were wondering what was going to happen after the AD carry pool got hit later into it, but this is a good reminder that Jackulov actually has a really solid poke Varus. Done great work with it in this game from laning phase into team fights, and now going to start controlling this Baron.
When you think about what I was just talking about, 2020 being one of the peaks for top esports, I mean, that was Lethality Varus meta. I remember almost everyone was just playing Lethality Varus every single game. That Corrupted Potion start. Baron down to 6k. TT, I don't think there's any way they can contest this one. It's just going to go down. Top esports maintaining their lead. Rookie just playing bouncer on the top side of the play as a TP even comes out towards that bottom side to deny the tier 2 in answer. The gold lead continuing to increase for top esports. And like you say, not only are we getting to see this Varus, which is fun anyway, but for anyone who wasn't watching earlier when we saw it picked to champ select, this is the second Varus of the entire split so far, which that's a lot of games. I know we're only on week 2, but we've got 3 best of 3s a day. That is a lot of games for week 2. And perhaps could be something that we see come into the meta. Depends when we hit 311. That's the big question, because I feel like at that point it's all Triforce.
There's something to that, and it's sadly not all Yao Yao. His HP bar has gone. He is deceased, gone to meet his makers. He's an ex-Leona, and considering how difficult the laning phase was, you would have hoped for a bit more power from this Leona. Got a couple of picks in mid-game, but TT, they've really just fallen down to the continual pressure of top esports.
I do think as well, TT have played pretty disrespectfully in this third game. Like, so often we've seen Yao Yao caught out or Hoya caught out. Like, really just not expecting top esports to be looking for these picks when all game top esports have been looking for these picks. It's a little disappointing to see them caught out time and time again, fighting. I don't even know what vision you're really fighting for there. Like, that is not your jungle anymore. As the siege will continue here for top esports. They might actually just win the game without personally hitting the Nexus here, if these cannons keep up the way they're going.
Perfect victory, not a single auto attack on the Nexus, and yet you're the ones that can win it. These cannon minis are getting scarily strong though, scary close to that Nexus. Tara keeps going down. That's a Jinx ult for wave clear. 1xN really just trying to do the bare minimum he can to these turrets.
Here we go. The attempt comes out. Yukal with the flash forwards, but just locked down and taken out here. Jackulov in trouble. Hoya on the back line, but shot straight between the eyes. We've got Robin Hood there for Jackulov, as he will finish the game in style. TT forced back onto Fountain. And it looked so good for TT in game number 1 of the series, but top esports remind us why they're in the conversation for being a top team as they make their way towards the top end of the scoreboard. That'll be their 3rd victory on the board, which puts them, I believe, in 2nd place as they'll have slightly better game difference over JDG.
And top esports, a team with a huge amount of expectations, huge amount of name brand value. They were very close to TT in spring. They lost them in the regular season. They just about pipped them to the post in the standings. They've ended up finishing 7th over TT's 8th. And even then, this was a fairly close series, all things said and done. TT, they had options. They had plans which were very close to working out. Game 1, of course, it was largely on just, we have an Aphelios who's very good at Aphelios. We can work through that in late game. In games 2 and 3, there were just some early game missteps that went just a little bit awry. Particularly in that 3rd game, you have to really rue the opportunity of going towards that early game dive and not really making the, or rather going towards the early game flash over the wall for the camps in bot side jungle, but not ending up transferring that into a bot lane advantage. It felt like maybe you could skip those Krugs, just do a level 2 gank, just burn some flashes, burn some summers, allow 1xN and Yao Yao into the game, and that didn't happen. And then actually, because there's nothing derailing the Varus and the Heimerdinger bot lane, they just do what they always do. Get that lane pressure, get that poke, and they take over the game in a very non-counterplay way. They couldn't really break that pressure. You can see that eventually TT, they just ran out of inspiration and ran out of options.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, especially with how badly that first Baron play went for TT, I feel like that was the moment where the game really fell apart, right? And like you say, with the Baron and the Varus, what can you do? Like, how do you stop that? Especially when you're behind in gold, you've got to find some kind of miracle engage to get onto this Varus and take him down. But even if you do, there is other damage on this composition as well. That's before you even look at Rookie, who was basically one-shotting people. Like, we saw this combination of Rookie and Tien catching people out and finding those moments. So, like, really fantastic game for Top Esports, playing it slow and steady, knowing that they don't actually have to fight. They can just never fight in this game and almost get, I want to say, a pacifist victory. Like, it was a weird game of League of Legends, but Top Esports played it right.
You know, like in Civilization, you have like the technology victory, you have the cultural victory, the military victory, stuff like that. This one felt like it was a technology victory. It was like we've got our macro, we have our items, that's it. We've got the great team comp. It wasn't necessarily about the huge mechanical outplays. Not that there weren't some in there as well, because this is the LPL. We do that quite regularly here. But particularly when you had the moments, I think the moment where it really stuck out for me was when Rookie caught Hoya out when Hoya felt like he was forced to join the group in mid lane to take the mid lane out of turret, and then on the retreat back to a side lane, Rookie's just stood in the brush and completely one-shots him. That was the moment where I was like, okay, you don't feel safe enough to be in side lanes. You feel like you have to group with your fed, quote unquote, because it's a bit weird with that Gwen with how they could leverage it, top lane carry, and then you can't even move across the map either. The vision control fell apart with it. Top Esports, it felt like they were very confident in the mid game and then into the late game as well around vision control, about how they could make picks in a way that we've rarely seen from them this year. It's a good evolution to see from them as a squad.
I think that's the big thing. Oh my Well, you can see which sides of the map were strong, can't you?
Yeah.
But to your point on Top Esports, I agree that it feels good to see Rookie looking for pockets of vision in the way that they're playing, like sneaking around the map and playing with expectations of what TT are thinking is possible. And really, really good to see that, dare I say, mojo coming out from Top Esports there. The question for me, though, is can you do that against teams where they're going to have watched this series, they're going to have seen Rookie playing like that, and they're going to be all about vision control, all about checking those brushes? Can you pull it off against your JDGs, against your EDGs, against your OMGs? Like, are you going to be able to replicate that is the question. And I mean, only time will tell. But Top Esports looking good today. And TT, like, I don't want to just only say bad things off the back of the series. Like, they did have a fantastic game one. They have had a fantastic series as well. But I've got music to my ears, boys and girls, because we've got Jackie Love standing by for a winner's interview. So I'm going to kick it over to Christina.
Hello there, welcome to Post-Game Interview. I'm Christina. We're joined by Jackie Love, the ball laner for Top Esports. Congratulations on your win. It is a reverse sweep for you. So my first question is about how did you guys adjust your form or change some strategies after losing game number 1 to bounce back in game number 2? 欢迎 Jackie Love 来到我们的赛后采访，恭喜拿下了本局比赛的胜利。那么今天这局比赛是一个让1追2嘛，所以想问一下，队伍在第一局小失利之后做了哪些方面的调整和改变呢？
因为第一把我们选了一个基本都是全线发育的阵容，然后想去就是跟对面感觉打团的话，我们就是会更好赢一点吧，觉得。然后后面觉得我们今天的团战其实打的其实就没想到就没有我们想象中的效果，然后后面觉得就是把上中也选得好一点，然后去打点前面的强势。
So firstly, in game number 1, we got all 3 lane scaling champions. We wanted to get some leads in team fights, but unfortunately, we didn't work out in our team fight. So our adjustment and strategies changes is just like to got some very powerful top, mid, and jungle champions in the next coming matchups. So maybe we can manage to bounce back from this part. And the second question, I also want to touch on why did you guys pick Virus and Hammer this body in game 3? And in few days ago, I also noticed that you got Ziggs, this kind of champions. So could you please share me your insight on the meta in terms of Baudu and why this Baudu, why are you always so flexible in terms of the champion picks with you and Mark? 那么第二个问题想问一下，在第3局的时候，队伍这边为什么会选出一个维鲁斯和大头的下路组合呢？并且在前几天的时候也看到 Jackie Love 选手也拿出了炸弹人这个英雄，可不可以跟我们分享一下你对于这个版本就下路来说英雄选用上面的一些见解呢？为什么看起来对于滔博的下路好像什么都可以玩？
首先我觉得每个队伍都有每个队伍的理解，然后我们队伍的话，我觉得上中野选得好，我们下路就是其实能玩的比较多，就是上中野选好一点的话，我们下路就是选的稍微就能玩一点的话，我觉得整体阵容都会很好。然后我觉得维鲁斯大头其实蛮强的吧，但是要打出效果，其实就很厉害，我觉得这个组合还可以。
So first of all, I do think each team has their own insights or read to the meta in terms of the body. And for our team, for top esports, as long as our top mid jungle got some decent and great champions, our bot lane can play a lot of champions too. A lot of body are available for us. And that in terms of the virus and hammer's combination, I think it's really strong, very strong body in this meta if you can play decently or it really can work out in official games. And next question, I also want to touch on the game 3. You got virus, as you mentioned that you really did a really good job in laning and this body was very dominant in laning. But until to the mid game, in 20 minutes overall, there was not much golden difference for your team as a whole squad. So what's your strategies to get your leads to your team overall and win game number 3 from your perspective? 那正如 Jackie Love 提到这个英雄这个组合打出来打得好的话，确实是很强嘛。第3局的时候，你们在前期线上也是打出了很强的压制效果，但是一直到了20分钟，大概中期的时候，从整个队伍的整个经济上来讲，好像经济方面也没有特别大的领先，所以中期你们是怎么样把下路的优势辐射到全局，然后拉开差距的呢？
因为前面我们就是队伍上可能就对线上来说可能打得没那么好，然后可能前面陷入点劣势，但是因为我们这个组合前面控住资源，小龙会给对面很大的压力，而且我觉得就是对面的阵容其实也没那么好，就是打我们这种破壳阵容嘛，然后就是我们打好一点，他们基本摸不到就会很难受，然后觉得经济上其实不拉开其实也不急，因为我觉得打到后面龙上面会给对面很大压力，然后慢慢打就好。
Actually, we just performed decently in laning phase, not very good, but also maybe with a little bit of errors on laning, so that I do not think the golden difference matters a lot because that we got this body and we have shown dominance in lane, so that we can control a lot of tricks and a lot of objectives. So in terms of the golden difference, we didn't care too much about that because we have some objectives leads, so that we can just still the farming, we can still manage to win in the mid to late game. And final question for you now, you are on a 3 winning streak for top esports. Are you satisfied with your current performance? 最后一个问题，现在 Top 拿下这局后来到了一个小小的3连胜嘛，然后想问一下 Jackie Love 选手对你们目前的队伍的整个状态还满意吗？
其实感觉现在队伍状态也没达到那种就是特别好，因为其实失误地方其实还有很多，然后只是说。我们后面也会努力去练，然后争取，因为这个下赛比较关键，然后会尽力去打。
Actually, I don't think we are in the best form currently. You can see that we sometimes make some errors, and we will work hard and practice more to perform better in summer split, which matters a lot. I mean, the summer split matters a lot. Hope we can perform better in upcoming matchups. Thank you so much for joining me. 谢谢 Jackie Love 选手来到我们的赛后采访。Back to you guys. Bye bye.
Thanks very much, Christina and Jackie Love, for the